What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be giving my predictions for game week 13 in the Premier League. We start off with Manchester City against Liverpool, first against second. Should be a very close game on paper, but I don't believe it will be. I think Manchester City win 3-1. Although Klopp is the manager that has given Guardiola the most losses over his career, Liverpool do not have a good record at the Etihad. I think defensively they're still nowhere near good enough. Doku is going to ruin Trent, and the lack of holding midfielder is going to be really big in a game like this. You're going to see a big gap. I could also see this game being a 5-2 or something. I think that Doku-Trent battle is just what's going to make it a clear win for Man City. Next up, we've got a bit of a claret and blue derby. Burnley against West Ham United. I've gone with a 2-1 win for the Hammers. Antonio won't be available for West Ham, and Bowen might also not be available, which would leave a bit of a gap up front. However, Moyes does seem kind of confident that Bowen will be able to play. I think everyone in FPL is hoping he will play because so many people bought him in this week. But Burnley are yet to win a home game. They're yet to get a point in a home game this season. They're bottom of the league. West Ham on the whole have been quite good this season. They started very well and just have a little period where results weren't great, but you know, they're comfortably in the table. They're looking for the European places, and this is a game I think they have to win. Even without Bowen, even without Antonio, they've got so many attacking players that are just of such high quality, like Paquetá, Kudus, who's come in and just really, really good. Ward-Prowse can play a bit further forward if that is needed. But in this sort of game, Ben Rama should be more than good enough. Despite the fact I'm predicting West Ham to win, Burnley probably will play the better football. They'll probably have more possession, probably create more chances because that's the way they play. And West Ham play the opposite way. But they just don't have the quality up there, man. They need a proper striker. And they also need the defenders to stop making mistakes all the time, because it happens almost every game and you're not going to be able to win if your defenders keep doing that. Luton Town against Crystal Palace, I've gone with a 1-1 draw. Luton have looked a lot better in recent weeks. You know, the loss against Manchester United, they created some chances and it was only a 1-0. Against Liverpool here at Kenilworth Road, they got a point. They can absolutely win this game, but I just think with Crystal Palace, Eze coming back and looking very good, Elise coming back now as well, they have a very serious threat. Newcastle United against Chelsea, I have gone with a 2-1 win for Newcastle. Newcastle have a few players coming back from this game. Bruno Guimaraes has served his suspension. Amron should be fit. Longstaff should, well, here's a bit more touch and go, but Isak should also be fit. Those are some huge names that they need in their team if they're going to have a successful season. They're at home and they're fantastic at St James's Park. And despite the fact that Chelsea have actually really impressed me this season with their performances, I'm still a bit unsure about them. Obviously, they've had some blockbuster games so far this season, including the last one where they got a 4-4 draw against Manchester City. They could absolutely get something here. But the home advantage at Newcastle have the fact that I love Eddie Howe so much. I've already said it, best manager in the league. I do think Newcastle will just edge it, but it will be a very tight game. I think the return of Isak is just huge, man. He's such a good player. Hopefully he can find his fitness very quickly as well, and we see him just banging goals in. Nottingham Forest against Brighton and Hove Albion. Nottingham Forest have a few injury concerns heading into this game. Awoniyi is probably not going to be fit for it. Hudson-Odoi and Elanga have just got back into training, so they might not be fit. Mario's not going to be fit. So they do have a few key players they're missing. But Brighton are in absolutely terrible form. With it being at the City ground, where Nottingham Forest are fantastic, I do think it'll be a draw. I'm going 1-1. I think Brighton will probably be the better side. They'll probably create more chances. They'll have more possession, but they just won't be able to break down a Forest defence, which at home especially is very solid. And they always seem to score as well at home. So I would back them to do it again here. This will be a tough game for both sides, actually. Brighton do kind of need to start winning again because they had started the season so well and it's completely fallen apart. Nottingham Forest have been a bit hit and miss this season. They've had some games where they've looked really good. They've had some games where they've looked quite poor. Sheffield United against Bournemouth, a pretty big game in the race for survival, despite it being quite early on the season. 18th place Sheffield United, 16th place Bournemouth. Both sides are in pretty good form as well. Sheffield United are unbeaten in their last two. Bournemouth have won 2 of their last 3. However, they were both at home, and Max Aarons is not going to be fit for this game. And because of that, I think the Blades win. I'm going 2-1 Sheffield United. Max Aarons not being fit is a huge miss for Bournemouth, and that is the reason why I don't think they'll win. Sheffield United have a couple of players coming back, which is good because they've been really plagued by injuries so far this season. Brentford against Arsenal, a London derby. I'm going with a 3-1 win for Arsenal. Positive news for them, Gabriel Jesus should be fit. Odegaard could also be featuring in this game. Hopefully we'll see him hitting the heights that he hit last season sooner rather than later, because so far this season he's not been very impressive. And despite the fact that Brentford have won 3 of their last 4 games, I think this is just too tough an opponent for him. Although with that being said, Arsenal haven't been their free-flowing selves so far this season. But Brentford do also have a couple injury concerns. Collins won't be fit for this game. And yeah, I just think Arsenal have too much quality and they should be able to deal with Brentford. Tottenham Hotspur against Aston Villa. I've gone with a 2-1 Tottenham win. Despite the fact they're going to be without Van de Ven and Maddison and Bissouma who's suspended and Romero who's suspended, I do still think they win. Phillips has also a new injury. He hasn't played yet so far this season, but there were a lot of murmurs that he might start this game because of his pace. Doggy being back is a huge bonus because in my opinion he's been the best left back in the league this season, and they desperately missed him against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Aston Villa have a big threat though with Watkins and Diaby. They could wreak havoc against the Tottenham High Line, which we know they're going to play, but they're just really bad away from home, and that's the main reason why I've gone with the Tottenham win, coupled with the fact that Ange Postecoglou is really good at home. This is the one game I think I could actually get horribly wrong. It could be like 3-1 to Villa because of that high line and the fact that Tottenham don't really have enough creativity outside of James Maddison. But I think the doggy will definitely help provide a bit more. Everton against Manchester United. Everton were hit with a 10-point deduction over the international break. Burnley, Leeds and Leicester also going to try and sue Everton, which could lead to Everton facing another 9-point deduction and a £300 million fine. Leeds suing Everton makes absolutely no sense because last season, even if Everton had finished below Leeds, they would have still gone down anyway because Leicester were the team in 18th. Burnley doing it also doesn't really make that much sense considering Everton weren't directly above them when it happened. I know technically without them overspending they could have finished below them, and Leicester does kind of make sense as well. I think Leicester makes the most sense, but it'd be kind of peak on Everton if this was to happen. Even with that points deduction, I still think the way they played the season, they'll be more than fine, especially when you've got Luton and Sheffield United and Burnley in the division, and even to an extent currently the way they're playing Bournemouth. As in the last video, if Everton keep playing the way they are, they could end up in mid-table. This 10-point deduction is going to really hamper that, but I still do think that they've got enough quality to do so. And that is why I'm predicting a 1-0 win for them. Manchester United haven't drawn a game yet this season. I think Everton should be really fired up. You know, they know they're in a tough situation. They can't let their heads drop. Although Amadou Onana will not be available for Everton, which is a big miss because I really like him. I think he's a phenomenal player. He's a real good ball carrier. He's strong, he's quick. He's literally the perfect box-to-box midfielder. The Onana that plays for Manchester United, Andre, should be fit as well. He suffered a bit of a knock on international duty, but Erik ten Hag has said that he should be fine. Everything around that club is just a bit messy, so yeah, I think you'll have one team that's really fired up, the other team won't really be up for it, and I think Everton will come out on top. The final game of the game week, Fulham against Wolverhampton Wanderers. I've gone with a 2-1 win for Fulham. João Palhinha missing for Fulham through suspension, big miss, but Wolves also have an equally big suspension with Craig Dawson, who's been phenomenal for them, and they've also got Pedro Neto out injured. Those are 2 of their best players, probably their 2 best players missing for this game. With Hwang's form, I do still think he'll score because he just keeps scoring, even though a lot of it is down to Neto. He's still a very good player. I do think Fulham do need to win this game, being at home against a team that they're roughly on a similar level to. I think they'll score a set piece, and I reckon Willian will score a goal as well because you can't really trust their strikers to get any goals. I don't expect this to be a great game, if I'm going to be honest with you. Those are my predictions. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon for another video.